Welcome. It is great to have you here in today's live marketing clinic. We're talking about traffic strategies that work. And as people come in, I'll be happy to answer your questions. Of course, those of you on the replay, I'll get right into the traffic strategies ideas. Of course, if you like this video or any of the videos, make sure you push like for me and of course subscribe for you, and I always appreciate it. If you want to be notified when I have these live sessions so you can ask a question, hit that bell icon and you'll be notified. So we're talking about traffic strategies that work. And there are a number of them, and I'll start off with one that we're very familiar with, and that is SEO, search engine optimization. That is a great way to drive traffic. And it's not dead, it's not a mystery. It's simply making it easy for the search engines to understand what your page is about. If you understand that every single page on your website or every blog post is an opportunity to be found, you can understand you have a headline that has some keywords that are relevant to you and the topic, and hopefully something that grabs people's attention, and we'll talk more about that in a moment, and then a lot of great information below. That drives traffic. I have gotten more traffic to websites, via SEO than any other method. I mean, obviously paid is certainly a way to go to a landing page, but, just generally, I find SEO the way to go. Now, if you're really strong in Facebook and social media, I have seen some really good results there too. But talking on the SEO front, let's just continue on that topic and we'll get into some of the others as we move forward. But just think about continuously updating your site with areas that you think you're kind of strong in. And how do you know where your website is strong? Well, what you need to do is go over to what was once Webmaster Tools, is now Search Console for Google, and make sure that is connected to your website. Make sure you have Google Analytics, and it will tell you where you're showing up in search. And it'll show you the keywords in which you are showing up for, whether people are actually clicking on your website or not. It'll actually show you your click-through rate over there if you're familiar with pay-per-click. Your click-through rate for organic, that is over there on Search Console. So that's available free to you via Google, and that's really important because sometimes you can see some keywords that maybe you're ranking for, maybe the top 10, 15, maybe even 20. You say, wow, all I have to do is write a couple articles or get a little more solid information. I could probably push myself up to the top 10 and drive more traffic that way. That is what can happen with SEO if you really pay attention. And that's a good way to go. Developing this, we're not going to have a full SEO conversation here, but if you do that one thing, just keep updating and adding good quality content to your website, that's going to help drive traffic via SEO over time, no question. Something else that really will help drive traffic, and this is across the board, whether it's your social media or your, maybe YouTube or your blog posts, whatever it may be, good quality headlines are really important. You have to grab people's attention and get their curiosity. Lists are really, really powerful. Asking interesting questions, engaging questions that kind of leave people thinking, yeah, I want to know the answer to that. There are different ways. You've seen like the BuzzFeeds of the world. Take a look, the Upworthy. Take a look at what they're doing. Go to your local store and look at the shelves and see what the professionals are doing. And usually there's a top 10 list in there in the magazine rack and so forth. So there are a lot of things you can do, and people will click on that when it captures their attention. I often use the example of, I can say, hey, here's a horse photo. And I can maybe do a blog post, horse photo. That's it. Okay, great. If you're interested in horses, you might be tempted to click horse photo. But if I said, have you ever seen a horse like this? Now you're questioning. You may not be a big horse fan, but you're thinking, this could be interesting. So you're more apt to click than if you just saw horse photo. So that's my point. Good engaging headlines will help drive that traffic to your website or to your posts in social media. What else will drive traffic? Great imagery will drive traffic. This is something that I have, I've had to basically, just deal with the lesson, especially on YouTube. On YouTube, I left the thumbnails till the end. I was waiting to, get everything down and then start maybe improving the thumbnails later. Well, I am now improving the thumbnails later, the imagery later. A lot of images because I have a lot of videos. I should have done that in the first place. I was just, especially when I was doing them really quickly, I was just putting thumbnails out I thought kind of were okay. But that visual is so important because in combination with that headline that we just talked about, that visual encourages people to click and drives the traffic. And so when it comes to YouTube and driving traffic, man, you have to win them with that thumbnail as much of anything. So when you have 10 images there, people are going to get the loudest, brightest, and most interesting thumbnail, whatever it may be, and most likely click that one. And the same thing is true in capturing people's attention with Facebook and Twitter and driving people to your blog with the photo from the blog. So make sure you have a good photo on the blog and driving people to your website. So good photography can help drive that traffic. Obviously, you can pay for traffic. Paying for traffic is certainly a way to drive more people to your website. And you can do that with Facebook. You can do that with search in, say, Google AdWords, maybe Twitter. Pinterest is another way to go about that. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can advertise your blog, your website, your company website to drive the traffic. And the nice thing about that is that you can really focus in on exactly who you want to target your ads to, who will most likely then go to your website after clicking. That really is a really efficient way to get to the right people to your website versus, say, SEO, where anybody can get to your website via SEO, but the traffic from your pay-per-click campaigns is an excellent way to go about that. So as usual, if you have questions at any point, I have my topic, which of course is driving traffic to your website. But if you have a question, feel free to throw it up there. I'm happy to answer questions related to your marketing and growing your business at any point in time. And those of you who are watching on the replay, put that in your comments below. Put a question related. How are you driving traffic to your website? What is the method that you favor? As I mentioned earlier, SEO is a big one for me. It's solid. I've just driven so much traffic and so much new business via SEO through the years. It's still a very valid way to grow a business, to grow a website. It's a long-term strategy, but you can start to see results in just a few days. So social, I think, is another way that, we're talking about that related to headlines and developing headlines to drive traffic. But social media truly is, when you start building that community around your topics, around your expertise, it's a lot easier to drive traffic from those people who already trust you and know that when you have a new piece of content that you put out there and it has an interesting headline that resonates with them, that's probably going to be good quality information when they hit that link, when they click it and they go to the blog, they go to the website or wherever you're hosting that information, that they're going to be happy about it 80–90% of the time. So that community is one, going to help drive traffic. Two, they're more likely to share that information when you've built that community. That is why it's so important to build a social community. A lot of times people will wait until they need that social community. They'll say, oh, we have a big event around this topic. Let's build a Twitter following, or let's get on Facebook and build a page. And that's the wrong way to go. You need to build that community before you actually need it. That's the key. So you have to build all that. And I've had many people do that. They've done the same thing with email. Hey, we want to run an email campaign. Great. Where's your list? Oh, well, can we buy it? Well, one, I would suggest in most cases, no. You really want to build your own email list, which takes us to the next topic, and that's building an email list is a great way to drive traffic. When you have something new to announce, a blog post or announcement or something, maybe you've just redone the website and have some great tools that are beneficial to the people who are in your industry or in your field of interest, and you have some, that's what you have to do today with the website. Make it a tool that they can use, something that is helpful to them in their daily life or in their industry or their work or their career, and you have to make your website a tool. And if you've created a tool or developed something that will be helpful to them and you share it on your email list, you're going to drive some traffic. And not only that, give them the opportunity and the tools to share, such as sharing on Facebook and Twitter and so forth, and you will find great results. You'll find that a lot of the things that drive the traffic have to do with, one, being strategic, building it out ahead of time, such as social and email, and even SEO taking a little bit of time. But once you get that rolling and use the tools that I mentioned earlier, you will see some really serious results. But again, you have to be consistent, you have to develop it, you have to take the time to do it. The only way to get around that, again, is the pay-per-click models, which of course is something anybody can get involved with, but you still need to consider time there, because pay-per-click isn't just, hey, let's throw 50 bucks at it and see what happens. If you do that, you could really just, lose 50 bucks pretty darn quickly. You need to have a plan behind it, and you have to have enough money and time to test, to find the right combination of answers and messages and stories and solutions and landing pages to ads and keywords and landing pages to make sure that it's a funnel that is working efficiently and doing what you want it to do, which is a conversion. Now, a conversion could be anything. It could be downloading an ebook. It could be an actual sale. It could be registering for an event. There are many things that a conversion can be, so you'll have to decide what that ROI is on any one of these methods that we just mentioned. So those are some ideas about driving traffic to your website. When we talk about developing a marketing plan, we have 4 areas that we talk about: awareness, traffic, which was today's topic, conversions, which are sales, which we were just kind of alluding to a moment ago, and retention. And retention is one that a lot of people do not deal with. They get their customers, but how are you communicating after the sale? How are you keeping in touch with them? And so that's retention. So certainly a big one that we like to talk about. But today, all about traffic, driving more traffic to your website. And with that, I'm going to wrap up unless we have some questions from the folks out there. If not, thank you so much for being here. Those of you who are on the replay, I appreciate it. Of course, I always encourage you to subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time. I'll have a video first thing tomorrow morning. Bye.